on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Double M Motorsports. We got the modified back from Kelly. We went over there and got it all set up, ready to go. Mostly, we still got some work to do. I'll flip you around, show you what we got going on here. All right. So here she is, better look at her. Got the new door on. MD3 plastics installed, graphics are on. This is kind of the first you guys have seen of this car since we got it. New nose, Kelly made the new nose for us. So I didn't film any of that because it was all done over at Kelly's shop. And that's his place, and I didn't want to ask if I could film over there. That and I was trying to learn. So trying to learn as much as I can, soak up as much knowledge as I can about these modified cars because I've never raced one before. So what we're doing now is just the last little touch-ups. We're hoping to get out there Saturday and race for the first time. So I came home and put it on the plastics. I put on the graphics. And I've got the oil, had the oil leak in the front. So we're addressing that tonight. I drained the oil out, and that's tough. Golly, it was dark and dirty. The plug, it leaks, so I got a new plug for it. But the assembly lube was all over this thing. So this, I'm hoping it was assembly lube. It was thick and gooey. I should probably take the valve covers off and look at the heads there to see how they look inside there. I'm sure they're fine, but supposedly this motor was rebuilt before the guy that I bought it off of started racing it, and he only raced it 4 times. So I'm guessing that that was the original oil from the engine being built, because it felt like that lube that you put on your like all your bearings and stuff when you're putting them in your camshaft and all that stuff and your crank. That's what it felt like, just thick gooey stuff that came out or that was on the plug, and then the oil was just black as could be. So I don't think it's been changed before. But so we're gonna go get that. I've got the gasket already. We're gonna drop the pan tonight, change that gasket. We've got to get all the lead painted white. It has to be painted white with your car number written on it. What else we got? We got the limiter chain we're going to try to get put on tonight. I've got to, all the other panels I've braced. I got to brace this rear panel here. I've painted up all the rusty metal back here. This is still bare. I've got to get some paint on that. Got to get the seat completely mounted. It's not completely mounted in there. It's just rough mounted. And then we've got to get all of these tires taken off, switched over to different rims, or switched over to these rims, new tires put on these rims. And we might be ready to go. We got to nut and bolt the car. We've got to scale it. McCormick's going to help me scaling. Kelly's scales were messed up, so the McCormicks are going to help me scale it hopefully Thursday night or Saturday morning, and then we'll be ready to go. So stick around and enjoy this episode where we work on the modified. got some rear end fluid too, because I got to drain the gear oil out of the rear end and figure out what gears are in that, and figure out what gears I've got to see what gears we need to run at Springfield. Oil I got was Valvoline VR1 Racing and Classic Car Oil, 20 weight 50. Filter number STP S5XL. That was about the best one they had. I would prefer not to have an STP one, but they didn't have much choice, so I'll get something ordered online for next time. And then just some Valvoline rear end oil there. High performance gear oil. So yeah, I will get you on time lapse. We'll hop underneath the car and get that oil pan taken off and get the gasket replaced. All right, I'll let you guys, it's my first look at the workings of the motor. I mean, everything looks pretty good. It does look like it's pretty freshly rebuilt. I mean, those pistons from this side look new. Everything looks pretty good. I was leaking oil up here. This is where the oil leak was coming from. So hopefully I can get that fixed with the new gasket that I got. Take this old one off. Well, they tried to get it fixed. It's black RTV silicone in there. But it oh, fingers in the way. Sorry. Holding the phone with an oily hand. But dipstick. Everything's looking pretty good. I mean, the oil screen looks good. Little crud in there, doing its job. So we'll wipe that off and get that all clean before we put everything back together. But yep, I like this. It looks good. Everything's nice and clean. Like I said, this motor should have about 4 races on it, and that's it. So we'll get her cleaned up, get the new gasket put on there, and boy, this bolt back here was a booger. This one didn't even have a bolt in it there, so the gasket set came with some more bolts. So I'll put another bolt in that. I didn't have a bolt in it at all. That one there, this pan didn't have enough room for the socket to get in between the pan and the bolt head, so it worked easier from this side. Maybe I was just going about it from the wrong angle. But anywho, I'll get this cleaned up, get the pan put back on, and then I'll get back with you guys. All right, sorry about the light over there. Oil pan is reinstalled. Let's see if I can get you in the shade. There we go. Oil pan is reinstalled. Getting ready to put the new oil pan nut in. Make sure you got the magnet on the end there so it catches any debris. And this one is All-Star Performance. There's the part number for your drain plug. That one there leaks like a sieve. So hopefully after changing out the gasket, that's the exact same. That's the Fel-Pro gasket. And that was the same thing that was on there. I did notice on the instructions when I was looking at them, I rarely look at them, but it says Gasket must be installed dry without any chemical adhesives. And this one did have the RTV silicone on it, the old one, up in the front. So I scraped all that off, cleaned it up. We'll see if it leaks again. That may have been something, you know, that they did after the fact. Whenever they seen it was leaking, maybe that was a way for them to try to correct the issue. I don't know. So we will, we'll see what happens if she leaks. But I definitely don't like oil on my trailer or in my floors. So had to get that fixed. All right, new drain plugs in, and I'll snug that up. I'm gonna keep this one just as a backup. The only thing it was missing was that white washer that goes around there as the seal. That was all this one was missing, and I probably could have got that, but might as well just order a new plug too. That way I know everything's good. So, all right. Next, I'm going to move on to getting the starter remounted, and I need to. Oh, that's one smaller. That's a 3/4 inch. Old one is a little bigger than that. I need to shim that starter as well. It was a little off on that, but I'm gonna get some fluids dropped down here. It's probably tight enough, just hand tight. Get some fluids put in here. Get the new filter, pre-fill it with oil, screw it on there, and then I don't know how much oil this pan takes. This motor does have a dipstick with it, which Kelly was giving me crap. He said real race car engines don't have dipsticks, but with not knowing how much oil this thing takes, I think I'm going to definitely rely on the dipstick to tell me when the thing is full for this first go around anyways, and then I'll know. And then maybe I'll plug it up down the road. But anywho, that's where we're heading next. Put some fluids in her, get that starter removed. Whew, that was a pain. I hate messing with that starter. That bolt there, the way it has to go to line up, you have to put it on with a crescent wrench, or not a crescent, an open box end wrench. That thing is a pain in the rear. But I got 2 shims put in it. It was dragging, not really dragging, it just wasn't disengaging fast enough. Whenever the motor fires up, you could hear the starter was still engaged down there. So put a couple shims in it. That should take care of it, hopefully. Got the oil done. So I'm gonna see, I don't know if I can fire up or crank it over without firing it up to see the oil pressure. We'll see here. Nope, I can't. I've got to have that engaged. Yeah, I'll have to do that tomorrow. It is too late at night to fire this thing up in the old garage. I would piss the wife and the neighbors off. So you can see see that light underneath there. I'm gonna have to rebuild this cockpit this winter. It's got some gaps. My handles are a little floppy in there. So yeah, we've got some work to do this winter on this thing. All right, so everything's back together. Oil's in, took 6 quarts. So now we know. Starter's on. Oil pan gasket's changed out. That should be everything I need to do up front as far as have to get done besides nut and bolting. I topped off antifreeze, checked power steering fluid in there. We got plenty of power steering fluid. So I'm gonna move to the rear and get the drop chain put on. What those do, for those that don't know, you can see here, this axle, now that I've dropped it, I ain't gonna be able to pick it back up. This axle moves side to side. And this chain here, I had to get a different bracket for up here, but this chain keeps it from getting to the point where it's at now, where, where's that? Where my axle's sitting on my lower bar. They call this underslung. So I've got a bar down there, so that chain will catch my rear axle housing before it hits that bar and not let it get into it. So that is what that's going to be for on this application. These chains on other applications, you know, some guys don't have these bars, these underslung bars on here at all, and it just limits the amount of travel that your axle can go down. So that's what that's for, and they are adjustable, so you can adjust it to where you have more travel, less travel. It's just another setup deal. So that is it's what I'm going to work on next. I'm going to get that bracket changed out and get this chain set to the right height. All right, I have got that installed. That is a Wears product, Wears, however you call it. But that is installed and on there. And like I said, for me, it's just a safety deal to, yeah, boy, it's hard to film these things. Keep that axle tube from smashing down into that bar. Which you can tell, I don't know if you can see on this side, it's done it before. That's flat right there, where that axle tube's come down and smacked on that thing. So that is to prevent that, to limit my axle travel on this left side of the car. And that's all she wrote on that. I wish I could have got you in here on this. I need one of those little bands I can wear around my hat so you guys can follow me around. It's hard to get in here on these angles, but I got that done. So next thing I'm going to do tonight, probably the last thing I'm going to do, is take the cap off that rear end. This has got the PEM rear end in it. I'm going to take that cap off, drain all the fluid, inspect everything in there, see what gears are in there, and I don't know anything about these gears. There's numbers on them, and I'll have to look it up to figure out which gear is what and to figure out which gear I want to have in there for Springfield. But you also seen me tighten up brake line there. It was leaking down onto that, so can't have that. So had to get that brake line tightened up. Once I get that off and inspect that, then I will probably call it a night. You can see this has the This goes up to the decking. I can fill rear end from up there, and I've got a little metal pan I can put underneath that. Now the class that I run in, the track I run in, we have to claim our gear at the beginning of the night in the Midwest Modifieds. So even though I've got a quick change rear end, I can't go out there and change gears just at will. Whatever gear I run for my hot laps is what gear I have to run the entire night. So if I try something and it doesn't work, I'm stuck with it all night long until I get home, and then I can pop the cover off, try something else, and see what happens the next time. So if I ever bump up to other classes, you know, like the A mods and the B mods, they can run, you know, they can change gears at will there in the tracks. But the Midwest mods, we've got to claim our gears. So, but it is nice having a quick change setup. That way I don't have to go in and, you know, disconnect the axle, or not the axle, sorry, it's late. Disconnect the drive shaft and, you know, pull your whole gear out of the pumpkin front ways there, and then put another gear in and reconnect all that. All that can stay connected. I can just do all my transferring back here. So, all right, I will get that done here next. Okay, so got that out. She is still draining into that nice handy pan. And these are the gears that are in it. They look pretty nice. Everything's Winters, quick change. It's 10 spline. It had a 31 tooth up there on the top and a 25 tooth on the bottom. Also came with two other sets. I've got a 26 tooth, 23 tooth, and this one's a 28 tooth and a 22 tooth. So I pulled up the Winters chart, or the PEM chart actually, for 10 spline gear ratios. And I will post that. I'll kind of overlay it here, and we'll take a look at that, see what she has to say. All right, tried to call the boys, got no answer, because this is stuff that I'm still trying to learn. I don't know what gear ratio is best for these cars, and so I'm going to go ahead and throw these back in it for now. The rear end fluid looked great, still really clean, and so I'm just going to dump that stuff back in there when I'm done. And I'll throw this set of gears back in there. I do know just from watching other videos that, you know, you want to, things are slick. You know, just give your gears a good look over, look for any cracks or chipping. You know, that shows signs of uneven wear. Everything on these looks great, except for that piece of grass I just got on there. But everything looks great on these. I'm going to throw them back in, and I'll talk to the boys tomorrow. Hopefully they'll give me a call back and figure out which sets of gears I want in this. So we'll snap this back on, and we're going to call tonight. We got some fresh oil, so we might as well just dump fresh oil in there. Stick that right in that hole. A fresh drink. All right, guys. This is why I thought it looked good, but then I started looking at the oil and seen that stuff in there. So I figured I probably ought to just give her fresh while I'm doing everything else fresh. But all right, well, that is going to do it for tonight's video. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to I say that every freaking time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one.